where we have stopped, I think, a little earlier. Number 4. Here. Let me look in what was number 3. Okay, I will just run through these 3 first because it is not much, just to give us the context in which this Apri Suktam is generated. It's a specific style, I already spoke about this, which gives us the overview of the sacrifice, and you can see how many devatas are here. Sri Aurobindo translates only first 4 because they are more or less related to Agni. The rest he doesn't translate, but we will translate the whole hymn, 12 of them today, most probably. Susamidho na avaha devan agne havishmate hotav pavaka yakshicha. O fire perfectly kindled, bear the gods to him who has the offerings. O thou who purifiest, thou Samana, sacrifice to the gods. This is a very interesting idea. Today, or yesterday, we discussed this with Shraddhava, that actually the answer of the gods cannot be managed by us. So we can offer them, we can invoke them, we can aspire to receive their response from above, but it is up to them whether they come to our sacrifice or not, how far our aspiration is burning, how far it is susamidhah, perfectly and totally kindled. So in that sense, of course, they will obey the aspiration, the call, and they will answer. But even then, Sri Aurobindo says that the aspiration is not always answered. It's not necessarily, it's not a mechanical that they must come because we called them. Yes? They may not come. I mean, even the divine grace is not responding mechanically to any call or any aspiration, or every aspiration, let us say. So there is some kind of grace element or choice element of the divine. The divine is free to choose and to answer. Sometimes it answers to the smallest call and aspiration, which should not be answered. I was thinking about myself, how is that possible that it answers? I'm not deserving, I'm nobody to receive this kind of answer. But it happens, it's grace, it can answer to someone who is not even calling for some reason. Outwardly not calling, not going to the temples, not praying, not putting incense sticks, not doing any meditation, and somehow he is under that grace, And those who are going to the temples every day, they may not have any grace from coming down. So it's a very free choice. The divine is to choose what and act in accordance with its own wisdom, not in accordance with our mechanical understanding of how it should be. This is an important thing to understand, I think, that our purpose is to perfectly kindle the fire. The rest is not in our hands. We can invoke the devatas through the fire and ask him to bring them to us, to our offering. But that's all we can do. We cannot bring them by force, by our own will. Madhumantam tanunapat yajñam deveshu nachkave adya karenuhi vitaye. O son of the body, tanunapat. Tanu, we spoke about this, that it is a kind of presence in time and space. It's our stretching from rutan to stretch, to pull over time, body and space body. So our body grows from childhood to the old age and perishes, is born in particular time and ends in particular time. So this portion of time or this portion of space is our embodied state of being in time and space, which is called Tanu, our body. But not only physical body, not only space body, but also time body. So, Hosanna of the body, of this stretching, of this embodied state of the being. Now make the sacrifice honeyed for the gods. Madhumantam yajnam deveshunach kave krenuyi, make it krenuyi yajnam, the sacrifice madhumantam, full of honey and sweetness. For their enjoyment, vitaye or siye kave. Why it is to be honeyed, full of soma, delight? Because otherwise they will not come. They don't have to come. But the sweetness which we prepared for them, we are sharing with them the element of love, the element of joy, bliss, and that element they want to get. That's how they come. They answer to love alone, to that sweetness which we offer. Narashansam iha priyam asmin yajne upahvaye madhujihvam havishkritam. Him, the beloved, I call hither to this sacrifice. He who creates the offerings, possessed of honeyed tongue. And we spoke about this. He creates the offering. Honeyed tongue is interesting because it's tasting the honey, the love, the enjoyment of the embodied state of being, and also the tongue is the speech, the word, the invocation, the call, both in one image. And he is always praised by the heroic souls, Narasham Sam, Iha Priyam, here beloved and worshipped or praised by the embodied heroic souls of man. I call thee to this sacrifice, to this transformation. You who possesses the honeyed tongue, you who creates the offering. He creates the offerings. Yes, Kinshuk. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. No, you are muted still.
Got it. Okay, so I had one question, Vladimir, at this point, which is to say, I have always had a doubt that this sweet offering that we are doing, is it these hymns itself?
Right. It is these hymns themselves, and it is also something which we, with the help of these hymns, produce within ourselves. There is this the delight
this is the food. This is the food that we are offering them. Is it?
Yeah, the delight of existence is the food. We distill, purify the delight which we have around us. We have to now prepare this food and offer it to this higher consciousness. So we are feeding these higher powers, which are coming universal powers to us by what we have in us. We kind of extracting the divinity, the divine enjoyment from the existence and offering it to them as food. And they change our consciousness and our being in that way.
Because so many times they talk of gira as the sound. Are we offering the sound of these hymns?
Well, not only the sound, we offer the meaning. Because there is much talking about the sound as if sound is doing the whole work. No.
Mechanically.
It's
Okay.
not possible, yes. The meaning must be there. Otherwise, how would they come if I'm offering only the sound? Then I
Okay.
can tape record it and,
Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
I have to understand within my consciousness. That is the power. Once I understand what is happening, then I can distill Soma, because then I see the delight in existence, that hidden delight behind things. And then I can take it out of there and offer it to this higher light in me. And then it will come and grow. That light will grow. Yeah? So it's an interesting process. We don't even split this into these phases. We are just seeking the divine presence in nature, in life. But how we do it, we always find some delight, some enjoyment, some bliss. And that bliss becomes the food for the growth of consciousness. And other way around, when the consciousness grows, it generates a lot of bliss. This is something interesting, because when the gods come to our offering of Soma, they also bring a lot of delight. This is not immediately visible, but in some hymns we will find this reference. When the gods come, they generate even greater streams of Soma. And then we have more delight to offer to them to grow. Yeah. So it's ongoing discovery of the divine in his own manifestation.
Vladimir,
Mm.
this is also what that reference to the fourth priest is, right? I mean, unless you are really uh, witness to the whole thing.
You mean
That-
Brahman in the Agnihotra?
Yeah, Agnihotra, yeah.
Maybe. Maybe also, yes, inclusive of Brahman. I think every priest has to distill and offer that delight. And by offering the delight, Brahman is doing something kind of correlates all comprehensively. It makes meaning out of all the offerings, yes? And interestingly enough, that later Brahman means the spirit, yeah? And the spirit, because it actually keeps in comprehensive oneness everything. But the doing of the offering and the stealing Soma has to be done by other priests, by us actually. These priests, like Hotar, Advari, Udgatar, these and Brahman, they are representatives of us actually, of Yajamana, in different functions. We have to distill and offer the divine presence in our physical, vital, and mental consciousness. So in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our actions in the body, we have to find the truth behind it and offer it as food. I think this is the major. Sri Aurobindo says somewhere that all the priests are the personalities of Agni, who is the divine will in us, Yajamana. Agne sukhatame rathe divan ilita avaha asihota manurhitach. It's a new verse. O fire, thou art adored. Thou who art adored, bring here the gods in thy happiest car, for thou art the summoner established by man. Agni Sukhatame, these are vocatives. O Agni, Sukhatame Rathe, in the most delightful car or chariot, Devan, the gods, Elitach, Avaha, adored you bring. Elitach, you sought with adoration, you whom we want with love bring here the gods in your most blissful chariot. Asihota, because you are the summoner. Manurhitach, established by Manu. Manu can be translated in the Vedic language as mental being or man in general, but also it is Manu, yes, our frame, a mental frame for all humanity. So we have all these Manus, yes, Manvantaras. In each Manvantara there is one Manu, specific formation of the mind for the whole humanity. So established by Manu, you are the Hotar. Or Agni, or fire, I read already. Or Agni, beloved by us, bring here to our domain the high luminous powers in your happiest chariot, crossing safely the regions of half light and darkness. I'm adding, it's my interpretation. For why chariot is always crossing those regions where there is no enough divine presence. So chariot itself means that there is a movement of the being from its domain to other domain over the space where there is no connection. So it saves you there and it gives you speed, it speeds up. It moves from one heavenly domain to our earthly domain over the regions where there is dangerous possibility to be lost. So chariot is protecting the being to reach out to our state of consciousness. So that's why I'm adding this long sentence, crossing safely the regions of half light and darkness, because it is exactly what chariot does. For you are the invoker, Hota, and the offerer. Offerer and invoker is the same. In the same word, we spoke about this. Yeah? You invoke, and by invoking you offer, or you offer, and by offering you invoke. Invoke it to the higher powers, to the gods, being established for this sacrificial work from the beginning of time by the first man, Manu. Why I'm saying from the beginning of time, at the beginning of Manvantara, basically. Each Manvantara is a period of time when we come as a group soul, and we engage over the pralaya. Yes, there is a pralaya in between Manvantaras. And then great Mahasatya Yuga begins. And then each yuga, Mahayugas, are split into smaller yugas, and they are split into smaller yugas. So in these periods of time, the whole working out of our intention as a group soul is taking place. Note, the cart, the chariot, that's what I was saying, is the symbol of the power which can safely carry the light over the darkness into the special place of the sacrifice. It implies that the light is called by Agni, growing from within, but the answer should come from above. For that he should have a chariot to carry them far from their own abode to the earthly domains of the sacrifice. So for the gods to reach out, they need some carrier, either the horse or the chariot. In The Secret of the Veda, Sri Aurobindo defines the function of the chariot. Vamadeva closes his hymn. He has been able to hold firmly the shining thought with its high illumination, and has expressed in himself by the shaping and fixing power of the word. Fixing power of the word, the chariot, that is to say, the immortal movement of the delight of the Ashvins, the movement of a bliss that does not fade or grow old or exhaust itself. It is ageless and undecaying. Ajarach becoming not old. Because it is drawn by perfect and liberated energies and not by the limited and soon exhausted, soon recalcitrant horses of the human vitality. So our human vitality cannot carry that task. It needs the divine chariot. And we will be very soon exhausted, according to Sri Ruben. So horse, chariot, these are the movements of the divine force, which carries the light to us. We need the divine power to bring the divine knowledge. The divine knowledge would not come without the support of the divine power, and will not be able to reach to us. These are the spiritual significances of this imagery. And then, Strinita barhich anushak, garita prishtam manishinach, yatramritas yachakshanam. Os thinkers, manishinach, spread your holy seed. Strinita barhich. Barhis is this sacred grass on which the gods are seated around the fire. Strinita barhich, stretch, spread your holy seed, the holy grass. Continuous anushak, and true in order. Sprinkled with clear offering or clarified butter. Garita prishtam. Prishta is the back, garita is the ghee, the clarified butter. So whose back or whose top is shining with clarity? To where is the vision of immortality? Yatra amritasya chakshanam. This is still Sri Aurobindo's translation, translated 5 of them. Where the vision of immortality, there. O descendants of man, widen the sacrificial place in the right succession and order, and anoint it with the luminous clarity. For here should be achieved the vision of immortality. This is my interpretation. So, where the vision of immortality should take place, or takes place, we can say this way. Yes. And so I'm kind of making it the aim of that, for vision of immortality to take place, but where it takes place is also of the same meaning. To where is the vision of immortality? Sri Aurobindo does not change the grammar. So spread this barhis. We spoke about barhis. It's from root brich, to widen, from here Brahman. And we have to vacate, to generate some space within ourselves, to clear up the mess, to make the order within ourselves. Or better, to vacate, to throw away all the stuff, and to prepare, to make empty, to prepare absolutely empty space for them to come and to take place in our consciousness. Spread the empty space within yourself, anushag, interesting word, continuously, uninterruptedly. Or can be translated in the right succession and order. And anointed with the luminous clarity of the mind, that transformed way of thinking, transformed by the divine presence. It needs to be touched with that mind. It needs to be prepared for them to come. They have to feel welcome there and understood and wanted. Not just something comes and we don't know what it comes for or what it is. And the vision of immortality, yes, it's very open, very clear what it means. There has to be the direct revelation of immortality. And then there are verses which Sri Aurobindo did not translate, from number 6 onwards. Shall we go through them also? Oh,
Vladimir, just one doubt.
yeah.
This in the shloka above, there was this widening the seat within. So what does that mean? That does it mean that the center of the heart where the psychic supposedly stays? So which means that staying that being connect with that part, or what would that mean?
I think it means, always I thought like this, but if you have some other ideas, please share. That it is making the holy seat means to prepare within oneself, as Sri Aurobindo says in the hour of God, yes? Trim your lamp, clean your temple. Yeah, it has to be ready for the higher powers to come. You cannot be whoever you are, half conscious, half animal, with desires full of messed up, psychology, called to the divine forces. They would not come. You have to prepare for them the place. You have to work it out first. Yeah. And in that sense, of course, ritualism took a lot on in this regard, so and did a lot which I could not totally appreciate. Yes, because I see ritualism as very mechanical way of approaching it. Religious. So you do this, and then you do that, and then you do this order. But truly speaking, it is symbolic of that inner preparation and cleansing. So if it helps, if it really helps, then it's wonderful. We had this retreat with Shraddha. It was so much we paid attention to this, that the lamp is lit, that the flowers are fresh, that everything is in order, everybody is very calm. So all this ritualistic side of this process may also help and support the inner change. But if it is done only outwardly, of course, better not. Better to do it inwardly. As Vivekananda Subha said about us. Yes, Ismail.
I was just going to say that there can be a richness to ritual that can lead to the bhakti element emerging more in practice, but it has to be experienced.
Yeah.
That's true. That's so true. It has to be living experience.
Right. Vivekananda emphasized this. If you have time only for one occasion of cleansing yourself, either inwardly or outwardly, to take shower or to take inner shower, better you take inner shower. So it's kind of gives you some kind of preference. Preference is, of course, change of consciousness, and not keeping everything outside in order and then forgetting about the inner being. But if we can do both, that would be perfect. All right, I'm coming back to this. Oh, we didn't answer. We did answer something, yes, about your question, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Preet. Well, whatever. You can answer yourself. I'm not here to answer the questions. I'm here rather to study with you this beautiful literature.
You just get us back to the center. Then
Say,
we'll find our answer.
say it again. Your voice was breaking.
I said you just get us back and then we find our answer.
Of course, all the answers are within us, within every one of us. And whatever answers you get in that moment of time, it is what you need. And it is not necessarily someone here who can answer your question. But we can put the question forward, yes. And to keep the question is more important than to have the answer. I noticed this many times. The moment you receive the answer, you are done. Forget about this. There's nothing there to do. But the longer you keep the question, the better it is. Vishrayantam retavrido dvaro divich asashtach adyanunam cha yashtave. Now we come to these beautiful rivers. Let the divine portals, dvaras, doors, let the divine doors be set open now. And the rivers of light, Devich, the goddesses, which are growing within the dynamic truth, Ritavridach, of the supermind, because Ritam is the supramental dynamic truth, and never drying up as a Shatach, be set free to flow. Vishrayantam. For today is the day of the sacrifice. Adya nunam chayashtave. This is interesting how I found this kind of equivalent. For today is the day of the sacrifice. Literally, it is Adya, today and always is for sacrifice. Literally. Beautiful. Today and always is for sacrifice. Good. Okay, so who are these divine doors? Who are portals? Who are the rivers, the streams, the currents? Here you can see the note. Doors are said to be Agni Vishesha Murtaya, murtis of specific murtis of Agni, as personifications of Agni. That is in another Apri Suktam. In each Apri Suktam, we have these divine portals or divine rivers. It is also, it is from 142.6. We can read this. Vishrayantam. It is using the same language. May the great gates open wide, straight from the gods, increasing by the truth, purifying, widely reaching, the goddesses infallible again, asashyatah, yes, devir asashyatah. Nearly the same diction, the same vocabulary. The different rhythm, it is Trishtup here is Gayatri, but still the vocabulary will be the same. Again, Vishrayantam, again, Dvaro Devicha Sashyatach, kind of repeating itself. I think these Dvaras, or these portals, which have to open upward, movement of the rivers, of the currents, streams, which descend, which come down, they are like the inspirations, the streams of poetic inspiration, yeah, which we get as poets get them, rishis. They come and they possess you. This inspiration, poetic inspiration, possesses the poet. He's not free. He suffers its, consequences. He has to write the poems. Yeah. And it's full of delight and knowledge and truth. and happiness. These Devi Dvara. Interesting, yeah. They don't care that portals and rivers and goddesses do not match in our mental formation. Portals, openings to heavens, and these streams are coming down. In the Greek tradition, we know them as muses. Yes, they possess the inspiration or the imagination of the poet, and then he is capable of writing epics like Homer, sitting and writing everything in the flow, or Vyasa or Ramayana, Valmiki. You have to have a profound inspiration to really flow so smoothly, so clearly with language. It's like one stream. It's not the combination. It's not a mental working out. Yeah, it's not some kind of. It's a flow, a flood of consciousness. Naktosha supesha sa asmin yajne upavaye idam no barhich asade. I call for the beautiful night and dawn to attend to this sacrifice, to sit upon our sacred grass, Barhich Asade, to sit on Barhich, on our prepared for the divine power's place. Nakta Ushasa, this is the Vedic dual. Nakta is the night, Ushasa is the Usha, the dawn. Naktoshasa, Supeshasa, beautiful. Supeshasa, perfectly shining, decorated, could be also. Asmin yajne, in this yajna, upavaye, I call them the dawn and night, the two mothers, the two sisters actually, and the mothers of Agni. They are both nourishing the growth of Agni. There are many notes here, which I made for, not many, only two. O night and dawn, invoked with prayer, united, beautiful and young, the two mothers of the supramental truth, take your seat together at the sacrifice. It's from another Apri Sukta with similar vocabulary. All from another one, from Mandala 2. It is for our great deeds that they were conceived from the beginning of time, dawn and night, like two female weavers interweave the one thread in the same direction which was spread from the beginning of creation. They are the architect of the sacrifice, full of milk of knowledge, easy to yield. This alternation between night and dawn, between light and darkness, is the very dynamic process of our growth of consciousness. We need both of them. We need the rising of light, of awareness, and then we need the time for assimilation it into our unregenerated being. It has to receive it. That's why we have the day and night. For in the night we assimilate all the knowledge, all the experiences we got into a deeper being, so to say. It falls, it sinks down into the subconscious and inconscient even. We are feeding constantly our lower being with the light which we generate during our illumination or in our period of rising in consciousness. Everything what we receive in this moment has to go down. And so the whole movement of our journey, or our yoga, as Sri Aurobindo describes, is always coming up and moving down. The higher we come, the deeper we fall. And it will be that way until it is totally recovered. So these two mothers, two sisters, they weave one thread in the same direction. We think that they weave the thread in different directions. No, they push it forward, always forward. And we need time for assimilation. We need time for rest. And this is a big question in this integral yoga, how to use this time properly for rest, not to fall into the inconscient or into the ordinary way of being. We will have even a course on sleep, how to sleep consciously, how to use the time of sleep for yoga. Yes, Kinshuk. Yeah, you have to unmute.
Yes, I'm trying to find it every time. Okay,
Alright.
so this is somewhat related, but elsewhere it says gathering up our nights and our days, which means, as I understand it, that the human being is made up by gathering all his nights and all his days. Would that be a right way to understand
Yeah,
our growth?
you're taking it from this Shanti Patra, yes? Ahoratram Samtadham.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, there, the gathering them.
No, yeah, I thought it meant that we create this uninterrupted moving forward, yes? So we don't skip the nights. We include the
Yeah.
nights into our conscious process of growth. We don't neglect them. We don't fall back in the night. We don't become unconscious. We work consciously even in the night.
So we are kind of sum total of our nights and days and everything that we get.
Right, right. This uninterrupted consciousness is very needed for the
It's our
sacrifice.
night.
Mhm. Even in the Veda, yeah, go ahead. It was interrupted, broke.
My internet is bad actually today. So the nights and the days, we have to gather both of them together to form our integral personality. Is that a way of putting it? Would that be
Yes,
correct?
yes, I think so. Or even in time. In time, we should move uninterruptedly over a long period. It is mentioned in the Veda that rishis did the sacrifice uninterruptedly day and night over the
Okay.
period of 9 months. And
Okay.
then they were ready to break through. So accumulation of force is taking place in time also. Yeah? So if you are not breaking it, so to say, your intention or your awareness over time, so you accumulate a tremendous force which can change the nature.
As well as the idea that nights is essentially are our periods of darkness and days are our periods of illumination or awareness. So we can also see it in that sense, right?
Absolutely, yes. And while we sleep half of our life, what is really the need? It seems that our body, which is made of this, uh, stuff from the evolutionary past, cannot really handle the light or the consciousness in full kind of blast. So it
Okay.
needs to recapture, to assimilate, also to step back, to come back to itself, as it were. To
Okay.
did you notice how pleasant it is to to fall asleep when
Yes.
when you stretch your legs? We enjoy that falling into the unconscious. Now I can rest. I don't need to do this work anymore. This
Okay.
conscious thinking. Um,
Okay. Right. Thank you, Vladimir. Thank you.
I'm always wondering about this. What is this delight of becoming unconscious? Mm.
Okay.
but at the same time, the assimilation is taking place. So we need to bring the higher peaks of our achievement to the deeper darkness. Yeah? And this will go on. It goes on without us even knowing it. Yeah? So, but once we become conscious and it becomes uninterrupted, it's another stage in yoga. I have been through this stage long ago, like at the beginning of my yoga. I remember that days and nights became like one uninterrupted thread of consciousness. I was not losing myself overnight, and in every morning I was wondering, wow, it is the same thing continuing. It was not interrupted even a bit. It is very intense and very heavy for the physical being, which is not ready for this. You know? But it, of course, generates a lot of change in nature, I guess, and that is the sacrifice, I believe. So these two, I have the whole article on them, on the day and night. This beautiful. They are both mothers of Agni, and they are both nourishing and increasing the fire, the flame. Yes, the night and the dawn, both are needed for the fire to grow. There is some kind of occult truth behind it. And we know that the night is our place where we are all located. It's a location. If you look at the universe, the bigger part of it is not stars, but the dark matter, as they say. This night is the foundation on which the light can manifest. In the Vedas, it is known as she is Jagatoni Veshani. We spoke about this. Yeah? Avayami Ratrim Jagatoni Veshanim Angirasa. Ahiranya Stupa Angirasa, Rishi says. I invoke night who introduces us into the world. She is the foundation in which our light is manifested. So, and she is also like Diti and Aditi, two sisters. Diti is the infinite consciousness bliss, and Aditi is that infinite mother, and Diti is the divided consciousness in night, in this kind of partial awareness in time and space. This partial awareness in time and space is also needed for manifestations. So both are working here for the same, as it is said that they are different in form, but with the same mind, with the same intention, in another place in the Veda. Different in form, but with the same mind. One is vacating place for the other. Two sisters, two mothers. Yes, but the dawn goes, the night goes and the dawn comes. And they occupy the same space. They're kind of constantly changing, moving one after the other. All right. And then number 8. Tasu Jihva. Can you hear me? Because the Tasu Jihva upahvaye hotara daiviya kavi yajñamno yakshatam imam. I call to the two divine hotars. We do not know who these two hotars are, but we will speak about them. The poets with the perfect tongue, that they may sacrifice this sacrifice of ours. Two Agnis, Daiviyao Hotaro, Prachetasao, two divine invokers. They were seen as the sun as and the fire, the two essences of heaven and earth, by uniting which they complete the sacrifice. The two hotars, the two fires, The two suns also, the upper and the lower sun. Vishnu and Shiva also. Vishnu is the godhead of the overmind, and Shiva is that which is carrying on his shoulders the whole manifestation, the divine present within the nature, or holding the nature on his shoulders. And Agni is his son, Agni which is rising from below, as it were, from Vivasvat. And sometimes they speak about him as Vivasvat, the luminous sun which is involved in darkness. And from there, the flame is rising to reach the heaven, to reach the level of consciousness which is uninvolved beyond. And that from beyond leaping down with the flaming or with the lightning of Indra. And these two, Indra and Agni, are to join. And I think these are the two Hotars. There are two divine invokers. One invokes the light from above, other invokes the light from below. And these two invokers generate or fulfill the sacrifice. Somewhere in Chandogya it is said, for human beings, for man, the earth is earth and heaven is heaven. But for the gods, the heaven is earth and the earth is heaven. And if you think of it, you will get this idea of two Hotars. They are both seeking each other's realization. The gods are seeking their heaven on earth, and man is seeking their heaven in heaven. And by these two, as the Gita says, the sacrifice is maintained. You remember in the chapter 3 in the Gita that the gods and man both feed each other, and by supporting each other, they create this sacrificial event. Heaven and earth, two Hotars. They are two poets, the two divine poets. There is the whole hymn dedicated to Avir Dhane. It's two ports of the oblation, two establishments of the sacrifice. And there we would see this duality of the divine, above and below, which is upholding the manifestation from both sides. In the later literature, we will know about them as Shiva and Vishnu. Shiva is always meditating upon Vishnu and Vishnu upon Shiva. They want to meet. And they also fight. They have the long wars between Shiva and Vishnu. And then being exhausted, nobody can win. Neither heaven can win over earth, no earth over heaven, so to say. In the divine terms, they kind of rest, they stop, they agree to peace. Nobody can win. But it is in Puranas. Later in Puranas, there are these symbolic stories of the 1,000 years wars between Vishnu and Shiva. Amazing. Who could have thought that they could have wars? But that war is something interesting. It's like the divine is finding or looking for this way of manifesting itself in this time and space. Either one has to dominate heaven or earth is to dominate, but none of them is actually to dominate. And that is integral yoga, if you think of it. The first chapters of Life Divine, the denial of the ascetics and the materialist denial. If you think none of them is sufficient, none of them is enough, both of them have to be part of the process. And then the number 9, or maybe we will take it next time because this is a big, beautiful topic. 1, 2, 3. You can hear me still, yeah? The sound has changed because my earphones battery went off. Okay, maybe we stop here. What do you think? Before Ila Saraswati Mahi, Tisro Devich, Mayo Bhuvach, these three rivers which started Sri Aurobindo, which made Sri Aurobindo interested in the Veda, actually.
Vladimir, could you send this document by
Sure.
mail?
Sure, I will send.
And I think I am not on your mail chain because if you had sent any mail last time about the class, I sort of didn't get it.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe I'm not there.
I will have to. Can you send me the emails? Then I will know that it. I should have your email. I will have.
Okay, let's try it again. If it works, then fine. But maybe you can send this document because we haven't got it.
Okay, I will send. And if you have any observations, questions, please go ahead. I know it's a little bit. We are into the after Shraddha's retreat, which is so modern and so psychological and so on. This looks like we are going into some dream world, you know, of spiritual beauty and less
Vladimir,
practical.
could
Yes, Rashi.
I was just one because you brought in Shiva and Vishnu and all that was going in my head, and you took us there. I just wanted you to. I just don't know why I'm asking you this question, but could you tell us something about Varanasi or Kashi, if it is in Puranas or anywhere else that you have studied about it?
Well, this is the one topic which I don't know much really about Varanasi.
Vladimir, basically, I needed to give you some homework. Now you know, so please get
Right.
ready. Please do some studies and some education in this area.
I know that this
Please know.
nobody knows when it was founded. This city, it is from the beginning of time there, so that much we know. The rest is everything is theirs, of course, but I really don't know much. Truly speaking, it's pity. Somehow, I was less about the cities, more about the gods.
Okay.
But yes, I will do
Thank
the
you.
homework and I will look into it. I always wanted to
In
go
India,
there.
I mean,
It is
which
like waiting for me. I never been to Varanasi. Can you imagine living in India 27 years and never been to Varanasi? I've been everywhere, but not Varanasi. For some reason, it is waiting for me for the last, I think, moment in my life. All right. Okay, so then we stop here and I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Thank you.